have to carry my dead baby, not only for the 2 weeks I've already been carrying it, but until my body figures out that it's dead.
So someone tagged us in this video about this woman in Texas who has had a missed miscarriage. Her child has no heartbeat, and she says that her medical team, I'm unclear if it's a doctor or a midwife or both, is not letting her get medications or procedures to remove the remains because of Texas pro-life laws. I have a bunch of thoughts, and first I want to say none of them are personal to this woman, and I'm very sorry for what she's going through, both the miscarriage itself and the frustration and anger of not being able to get the treatment that she wants. I had a missed miscarriage a couple years ago, and I had a D&C to remove the remains of my child, and I'm a pro-life activist. I say all this to emphasize that pro-lifers are not against miscarriage management. We're not against D&Cs as a procedure in all possible circumstances. We are very specifically against elective abortion, and that's why pro-life laws are written to be very specific, including the Texas law. Texas law does not legally define the removal of the remains of an embryo or fetus as an abortion. To be clear, I don't mean that removal of the remains of an embryo or fetus is an exception to the abortion ban. I mean it's not legally an abortion. So it doesn't need to reach a certain level of danger for the pregnant woman in order to qualify as an exception to the law because it's not legally an abortion. I noticed when I was reading the many comments under this woman's video that there were a lot of comments from people saying that they too had to wait to get procedures or medications for a missed miscarriage in states and in time periods before Dobbs, before the Texas heartbeat law. It was still a thing that was happening anyway. This suggests that there are reasons other than abortion bans why a doctor or a midwife or whoever might tell a woman they don't want to do procedures or medications yet. They want to wait and see for something. There are issues with making sure to diagnose a non-viable first trimester pregnancy correctly. By that I mean you want to make sure that you correctly notice when a missed miscarriage has happened, but you also want to make sure you don't incorrectly think a missed miscarriage has happened when it hasn't. If you get a diagnosis wrong and you think that there's been a missed miscarriage and there hasn't, and you do a D&C or you provide abortion pills, you could be ending a wanted pregnancy that you thought was already ended and it wasn't. But of course, there's the risk on the other end where if you think that it's not a missed miscarriage and it is, then a woman has to, at best, deal with the psychological and emotional potential trauma of waiting to find out, and at worst, be at risk of going septic or having other physical problems. Here is a list of the criteria doctors are supposed to use to determine that there is a non-viable first trimester pregnancy. And here is a list they're supposed to use to determine that there is suspicion of a non-viable first trimester pregnancy, but it's not actually diagnostic. If a woman is presenting with these criteria, suspicion but not diagnostic, and she's asymptomatic, meaning she has no symptoms of an immune response or an infection or other problem, a doctor or a midwife or whoever might tell her we should wait and be sure, obviously and especially for a wanted pregnancy. This would also explain why in the same comments under that video, there were people talking about how they live in Texas and they were able to get treatment for a missed miscarriage without any problem. The same laws govern them as govern the woman who is saying she could not get treatment, so what's going on? It's possible that in their cases, the diagnostic criteria for a non-viable first trimester pregnancy were clearer, and so the medical professionals were prepared to move forward without worrying about a false positive diagnosis. In fairness to this woman, though, it's also possible that the doctor she's working with doesn't know what the Texas abortion law is. I will say again, the law states very explicitly that removal of the remains of a dead unborn child, a dead embryo, a dead fetus, is not an abortion and is not prohibited.